news, everyone.
I'm back, baby.
It's Jake Ciely.
I'm great. Everybody else sucks.
Oh,
no. It's every nightmare I've ever had.
Excuse me?
It's time to check the link.
Pretty crazy, huh? But it doesn't matter because none of this has anything to do with the show.
You know what? You just made the list.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
It's all in football.
Sure, we talk about it all the time. Really? No.
What is up, you ducks and duckettes? All in football on FTN. As Lauren waves wearing a DuckTales shirt, which we'll get to that in a second. It is, yeah, there you go. All in football. If you want to go to FTN and get 20% off, code all in, get you 20% off there. If you want to go to The Athletic, normally I give you theathletic.com/betstv. But if you go click on any of my links right now, $1 a month beats the first free month. You can just might as well buy 1 year. So $12 for an entire year. Done. There you go. The draft kit is already starting to roll out. I have my custom projection sheet out, all that stuff. We're going to talk wide receivers today. It's been a long time since we talked to Lauren, and she brought the DuckTales shirt. I didn't wear my DuckTales. I want to wear my new one, Star Trek. I say but the best part is it's not even the right. It's to infinity and beyond, so it's like so many crossovers. You probably pissed off Star Wars, Transformers, Toy Story, probably some Star Wars, like Star Trek fans too. Like everybody's pissed off by this shirt.
Yeah. The Trekkies.
The Trekkies.
I'm not pissed. I like it. I enjoy it. I like multiple.
Is that a golf shirt? Were you golfing today, Chris?
I wasn't golfing today, but it is a golf shirt. We talked golf on Mean Street, so I was like, I'll just try to.
Oh, so you have to
I'm a golfer.
Rock the. Where are the pups, Lauren? Before we get started, are they still sleeping?
The oldest one is still sleeping outside on the couch in my living room, and the other one is Ellie. She's right here, right next to me, chewing on my slipper.
Chewing your slipper.
Why not?
So, Lauren, you're new to this. Chris, I'm throwing a wrinkle into what we did last time. We were going to talk about one thing before we get started, but we were doing the roulette wheel again. So last time, Lauren, it was, I'm going to give you a wide receiver. Last time it was running backs. I'm going to give you a wide receiver. You say whether or not you would take that player. It could be whatever reason you want. Like, I don't like how high he's going, I don't know, whatever. You don't like his outlook for this year, whatever your reason might be, and you spin the wheel to potentially get a better wide receiver. And there are worse wide receivers on here. So if you roll the dice. But here's the twist, Chris. Last time, Lauren, I let Chris just basically say whether or not he liked it. The twist now is whoever you get on the wheel, you have to argue for that person, even if they're worse. There's the twist. Because we gotta make a case for these guys. So he's not there, but like if you spun the wheel and you got Byron Pringle, you got to make some kind of argument for Byron Pringle to be better than the wide receiver you spun off of. Does that make sense?
So we're legitimately just going to be lying to people if we don't like who we
No,
like,
it's understanding the context. This is the best case. This is why you could like him.
This seems deceptive. I don't know if I can lie like that for the people. So there you go.
So you're just keeping everything. You're never going to spin. Is that what you're telling me?
No, I'll spin, but I'll just tell you exactly how I think of him. Screw your rules, whatever.
I like it. Some people can't lie. I mean, if you don't like the person, I think that I could spin. I think I could spin somebody, but ultimately deep down,
it's like, hold on.
It may hurt.
This is how I could do it. Is if I was trying to convince my league mate to take this person. That is how I will approach it.
No.
Okay. Now I'll go. Now I'll play by your rules.
No. You have to convince why he's a good pick.
No, I don't.
We'll get to.
I certainly do
so,
not.
Before we get to that, I think we just lost Lauren's audio. Maybe we should have to cut her. It's just going to be Chris going forward. So before we get running back. So recent news, Virginia Zakas, inside injuries, does a lot of stuff out there. She does stuff for The Athletic too. She's painting kind of a cloudy, iffy, worrisome picture on J.K. Dobbins, saying when it's both ligaments and that he's actually behind schedule compared to Gus Edwards. Before we get to wide receivers, Chris, J.K. Dobbins, we know the upside. We've seen Mark Ingram finish top 10, very weighted in touchdowns that year. We've also seen J.K. Dobbins finish as a top 25 running back the same year Gus Edwards finished top 35 just 2 years ago. Is J.K. Dobbins a good RB2, or are you out hearing this and saying the risk is just too much at this point?
I mean, I don't like hearing that. Last week we talked about him on this show and like one of your breakouts, and I agreed with you. I mean, I really liked what I saw from him in the rookie season that he had and down the stretch, and I was completely on him last year before the injury happened. And was kind of feeling like I'd be in on him again, but I don't like hearing this. Ultimately, I was just I was surprised that Baltimore didn't do anything like draft or free agency.
I took that as a positive for them.
Yeah, I just felt like, okay, fine. Like they're satisfied with Dobbins and Gus Edwards, but also like in the back of my head, it's like, well, how could you be so certain when both of those guys had season-ending injuries and you could have setbacks? Like you would think that you'd have some sort of security there. I still think I'm in. We're a little bit away. If I'm drafting this week, you hear this news. He's not going to go as roughly RB 21, 22. People may shy away if he can fall down mid-20s. Then I'd be intrigued. But this is something I'm definitely going to monitor. I'd like to see him on the field over the next couple of months to try to like get some reps in.
So, Lauren, we'll play your game right now. Do you want to make an argument for J.K. Dobbins? Because you don't have to in this case. So, if you want to make an argument to stay away from him.
I could go both ways, but how I personally feel is I need to see, just like Chris was saying, I mean, training camps are going to be incredibly important, not just normally like they always are, but in this particular situation, that is a player I'm going to keep a very close eye on. I also wonder if this is an opportunity to maybe snag him if he ends up falling. So I'm concerned. Yes, that sucks. But part of me is like slightly hopeful that this is going to be totally turn people off of him, and that I might be able to get him at a good steal in the draft. So that's how I'm looking at J.K. Dobbins in this situation. Concerned, yes. Also, room for opportunity here.
What's on the squad? Mike Davis.
And that was the big move. They drafted a new Justice Hill and Tyler Batty, and then they picked up Mike Davis. The wonderful disappointment of Mike Davis 2020. I forget, Chris, were you on Mike Davis as well last year? I mean, I'll bite the bullet. I thought he was going to get near 300 touches. No, you need to learn. Nobody was on Mike Davis except for Pat and me. We're the only two in the world that were on Mike Davis last year now.
I was all in on Cordell Patterson, and people thought I was crazy. Had like two heads and grew a tail or something. I was like, no, I believe in this. So that's whatever. I don't care what people think of me.
Thought Davis, and you shouldn't. I definitely thought Davis was going to be better. I thought he'd catch a few balls out of the backfield, like no one there, but I wasn't really.
See, I didn't think he was going to be better on a per touch basis. Like what he was on a per touch basis, exactly what I expected. I just expected like 280 touches.
Yeah, he just didn't get them.
He only got about 200, I think it was. Yeah. Okay. All right. First one up the list. Pretty high up in the rankings. His ADP right now is the 22nd wide receiver off the board. So Marquise Brown is leading Arizona, at least until DeAndre Hopkins gets back. So Chris and Lauren, do you guys want Marquise Brown to argue for him right now, or do you want to spin the wheel and see if he can't do better or worse? Chris?
I'm in. I want him.
You're in.
Give me him.
Lauren?
Yeah.
In or spinning?
I would love to just say spin simply because to make it fun and interesting, but hell no, I'm in on Marquise Hollywood Brown as well. Give me, I'll take it.
So you can go for it, Lauren. Make your case for Marquise Brown, even with the potential of the fact that it takes a back seat once Hopkins is back in 6 weeks.
Well, I mean, you nailed it on the head. For me, it takes a back seat. Will he though? I mean, I don't know. Are we going to guarantee that, as soon as DeAndre Hopkins comes, it's going to be bye-bye and we're never going to see him again? I find that very difficult to believe. So he will obviously lose touches to DeAndre Hopkins. That's not even a question. But there is going to be no DeAndre Hopkins for 6 weeks. That's almost guaranteed volume for him. There's really no other good wide receiver that's going to be available for Kyler Murray besides, Zach Ertz, who's a tight end, but still pass catchers is what I'm talking about here. Also, the loss of Chase Edmonds is something that I really like the target volume that Marquise Brown is looking at, and that's not going to go to zero as soon as DeAndre Hopkins comes back. So I will take him. I know the price is high, so my roster construction may look a little bit different, but if Marquise Brown is there, I'm all in. I like it.
Good.
I have him as like a top 20 wide receiver. I think I'm pretty bullish on him. I think I'm drinking a little bit of the Kool-Aid between these two when they played together Oklahoma in 2018, like 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns. I like that.
Did they room together
with each other?
They
were BFFs. They were BFFs. Actually, there's a pretty cool little bit of a story. When that trade happened, they traded obviously their first round pick and got him. I think Jake, you had just joined the show. We were chopping it up together with the draft, and that was like whoa. And then AJ Brown got dealt too, so that was like fun times. But so Kyler's been obviously wants a new contract. He's not happy. He wants some more weapons, things like that. Christian Kirk, there was some bad blood going on. Kirk, I think it was his mom or his parents. Somebody called out Kyler, and I guess he was like really pushing over the past couple of years to get Marquise Brown. And when that trade happened, Brown had said like he was so excited, and he didn't even text him. Like he was like, I'm not even going to call him. He's just like, I'm going to let him hear the news like elsewhere. And then he called like, how long have you known about this? He's like, oh, I guess I've known like about a week that, you know, it was in the works and it was potentially going to happen. But ultimately, like Hopkins, what Lauren said, is he going to be the number one guy? He was very touchdown dependent last year. He's coming off like an injury. He's going to miss the first 6 weeks. So we said he could be a little bit behind, like in shape. I didn't think he got a ton of separation last year. It could be just Brown could be the guy, and it could happen very early on, and that just can continue. He's a deep threat guy. I think Kyler's got a better deep ball than Lamar. So I'm excited. I think he's got upside to be a really strong wide receiver too.
You know, it reminds me just real quick before we just move on to the next one. What it really reminds me of, oddly, is the Julio Jones, AJ Brown kind of duo. Is for some reason how I'm feeling about this DeAndre Hopkins, Marquise Brown duo when it eventually happens in 6 weeks. And you know, Julio Jones is Julio Jones. There's name value. He's an elite wide receiver, no doubt about it. But I don't know. He ain't a spring chicken anymore. So I don't know. Maybe the new spring chicken is the one to snag.
You heard it here first. Lauren's saying DeAndre Hopkins is going to be the 78th best wide receiver in 2022. That's exactly
right here. Just mark it.
I wouldn't touch DeAndre Hopkins in drafts.
Let's see if I can get you to change your mind, though, and spin the wheel and see what the result is.
It's going to be a stud.
No, it is a rookie Treylon Burks. I'm assuming you're both sticking with Marquise Brown over Treylon Burks.
Absolutely. What do you have, 91 grabs and 1,000 yards last year?
Speaking of Burks, he actually has some recent. This is good because recent news. And before we get to the next player, Meaney, not looking good, missing some time. Apparently, there was like a health issue now involved too, but also even being out there, like reception issue like he had in college. So, Treylon Burks is top 40. Should that even be expected?
Yeah, I don't know at this point. It's like you said, right? He's already kind of behind the 8 ball for a rookie to learn the playbook on a team that wants to run first. And I don't know. I'm seeing Robert Woods look pretty good out there. So, I mean, he could be the number one guy for Ryan Tannehill. Tannehill's not going to drop back and chuck the ball 40 times. It's just not the way the Titans play. So this isn't great. You want to see these rookie wide receivers out there learning the playbook, getting reps with their starting quarterback. And everything that I've heard so far for him is not great news. I've had to bump him down. Like I had him over London as a rookie wide receiver in redrafts. I don't think there's any question now. Like London would be for me the number one rookie wide receiver in a redraft league. But he's off my list.
Okay, you're nodding your head a lot, Lauren. So we'll go and
100% agree. 100% agree. I wasn't very excited about him for exactly what Meaney said. It's just not the way the Titans play. Right? They have this really big dude who's really good at running the football. His name is Derrick Henry. Enough said. And like you said, Robert Woods is a stud too. So I was really never very excited just because
Robert Woods. So
I love
hold
Robert
your
Woods.
thought there. Okay. And yeah, Meaney knows. Like everybody's gonna come to mind. I hated Treylon Burks. Apparently, for everybody out there during the draft process, I hated him. I disrespected the hell out of him. But speaking of injuries. We've kind of joked about this on this show before because when Jeff and I talked wide receivers, and I think Meaney and I don't know if he's running the steeplechase, but Michael Thomas has about 1 billion hurdles that he still has to cross. Like every week, he has to cross this hurdle, has to cross this hurdle, has to cross this. Like I don't know what's going on. So Michael Thomas is the 23rd still in ADP wide receiver off the board. Spinning the wheel, Meaney's already shaking his head no. So you're spinning the wheel. Lauren, are you spinning the wheel or are you going to take Michael Thomas?
I'm spinning the wheel. Meaney, are you in my head? Do we have like the same brain here? This is a little weird, but I want to spin the wheel because no thank you.
I'd like to spin the wheel too. I mean, that's pretty
It could get worse. We'll find out.
Are we each going to get a different spin?
No, you both get the same argument for a player. You have to argue. No. I love Chris's response. Oh no! You have to argue, Chris. You were up first. Argue why the spin of Kenny Golladay is better than Michael Thomas.
My goodness. These guys both had the same amount of touchdowns last year. One played, one didn't.
Wait, is that an argument for Golladay?
Yeah, I guess. As an argument for Thomas. Wait, how does this work? No, the offensive line is better. You know, Brian Daboll's certainly creative. There, you know, you can, Jake, you know this. I mean, the Giants in each of the last 2 years have been one of the worst offenses in all of football. There's been no creativity at all in this offense. They ran a quarterback sneak on 3rd and 9 from their own 5 last year. Like, it can't get worse than what it was. It just can't. It can't get worse. I know he's probably not going to live up to the contract that he signed, but they did a good job in the draft. I thought they had one of the better drafts. You know, who is it? Neal they picked up from Alabama.
At least
guy
he's
that they
healthy.
could put on the offensive line. At least he's healthy. I am not hearing anything about injuries right
Don't
now.
take my
as
argument, okay?
for Kenny
I only
Golladay.
have one good thing to say.
Lauren, go ahead.
No,
I actually
you're-
forgot about
Lauren,
that. He is
Lauren-
healthy
Lauren's
right
going to
now, and
argue for
Thomas is
Daniel
not.
Jones over Jameis Winston.
No,
Yeah,
who
fair.
said that? Ew, gross. No, my one thing that I can say to add to this, which you just started touching on, is at least one of them is more likely to be on the football field, which is generally a better rule of thumb when you're playing fantasy football and you want to get points from your player. They need to actually be on the field, which is super duper helpful.
Jake, you give the case. You're a Giants guy. Is any optimism here for like the
I don't have to do
offseason?
anything. This is my show. I can do whatever the hell I want. Look, I will say, if Michael Thomas was even healthy, even with the addition of Landry and Olave, I mean, I would take Michael Thomas because he's my. But now here's the counter argument. I'll make the case. It's more against Michael Thomas than anything. It's going to be 2 years since we've really seen Michael Thomas, for all intents and purposes. That's a lot to ask of any wide receiver. So, what is Michael Thomas at this point? And if you're talking about stylistically, I don't know that he and Winston mesh very well for what the need is there.
I would
so,
agree.
yeah, I
One's
still
going
have
as wide receiver 55, and the other one, I don't know what you said, Thomas 20 something. That's
23.
Crazy.
If given that ADP, because so Lauren, when we were doing running backs, we were trying to keep ADP out of it because, of course, ADP can swing so much stuff.
Right.
But given that ADP, I think we'd all just say we'll just wait and take the gamble on Golladay if it's going to be that big of a difference. So
Yeah, absolutely.
here's the next one, Lauren. Wide receiver 25 has a new quarterback, has disappointing seasons to start his career, but a lot of talent. He could be the new Tyler Lockett, if you get the hint of where I'm going. You want to keep Jerry Jeudy or spin the wheel?
I am going to keep Jerry Jeudy. I am very bullish on that offense with Russell Wilson. I'm going to keep
Chris?
Yeah, I'm going to keep him too. I like the upside.
him.
Okay, well then
We're
we'll
on
come
the
back
same
to you,
page here.
Lauren. Two-part question. Can Jeudy be top 20? And would you, independent of this, would you take Sutton or Jeudy if given the choice?
Oh man, that's tough. This is where I'm going to have to go back to ADP because it's very important for me when I can even make that argument where it is I'm going to take him. I think Jerry Jeudy has potential to be there. I am not banking on it. And the reason I'm not banking on it is because of Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams. I think there's going to be a lot more running than what Russell Wilson is used to, just that offense. I think he could have some really, really good games, but I don't necessarily know if he can finish within the top 20. But now that I say that, I feel like he can. I'm just going to yes, I do think that he can finish within the top 20. And but depending on ADP, depending on what my roster looks like, honestly, I think I might go with that deep threat of Courtland Sutton. I think that's the one that out of those two wide receivers, I think I like Courtland Sutton because of where I can get him in the draft.
Are you the same on this, Chris, in the fact that maybe everybody should be on Sutton and not Jeudy because everybody's just assuming Jeudy is Tyler Lockett and not assuming who the better talent might be?
Give me Tim Patrick too. Hey, just saying.
Yeah, he is kind of interesting. I think I lean Sutton for a lot of the things that Lauren said. Just I think there's a slightly higher ceiling. You know, he's got the higher ADOT in this offense. I don't think the offense will change too much besides the fact that you got an accurate quarterback who has one of the best deep balls that we've seen over the last 10 years or so.
Exactly.
So that's kind of how I view. I like both. I think, I'll have shares of both guys. You really do have to make your choice. I mean, I'm looking at NFFC leagues right now. Last month here, Courtland Sutton, wide receiver 22, Jeudy, wide receiver 26. So you really do have to make a choice of which guy you want. I think maybe Can we say that Jeudy has a safer floor potentially, but the ceiling does belong to Courtland Sutton? I know its touchdowns are hard to predict, but Jake, I'm sure in your projections, maybe you have Sutton for a couple more because of the deep ball and just the way he kind of runs his route. So I would lean with Sutton over him, but man, my goodness, I think both of these guys are going to be great. Even if they do run the rock with both of those backs like they will, how efficient Russell Wilson's been over the years of just 24 passing attempts, 20 completions, 2 or 3 touchdowns. Like, we're going to see that sort of stuff from him again in Denver.
Yeah, actually, I have Jeudy for fewer receptions, but similar to yards. Or, I mean, Sutton for fewer receptions, but similar yards because Jeudy has more in an offset. And then I have Sutton for more touchdowns. So I do have the gap. It's a little bit of a gap. It's about a half a tier gap of Sutton than Jeudy. What's up to Albert in the chat? Jacob Norris, where do I rank Zeke? Here's perfect. Go to The Athletic. Click on the rankings article. It's $1 a month. $1.
That's
impressive.
But I will tell you, as a sneak peek, Zeke is not in the sneak peek. Zeke is not inside my top 20 running backs. To give you a heads up there. So
what a freak! You're such a freak.
So,
why do you hate him?
Let's spin and see if you would change your mind on Jerry Jeudy as we try to.
I think he just wanted to use the spinner. I think that's literally the whole point of this game.
No, this is a lot of fun. I've been using the spinner for like the last 4 episodes.
I like it.
Cordell Patterson.
Should I have
Cordell Patterson, if
He's a running
at
back.
wide
That
receiver.
doesn't count.
No, there's a lot of sites that you can still play him at wide receiver. Wide receiver Cordell Patterson versus wide receiver Jerry Jeudy. You keeping Jeudy or would you switch to Patterson?
I'd keep Jeudy, but
Okay.
It seems like Cordero is Lauren's guy. So
He is my he is my guy, but let's preface.
Very contentious name.
Their starting quarterback, really? Okay, no. I'm gonna stick with Jeudy as much
Why don't
as
you
it
like
pains
Desmond
me.
Ritter?
Yeah.
Sure.
Exactly. Or Marcus Mariota. Who knows? No, thank you. But not that I'm saying that Cordell Patterson won't produce. I don't have as much faith in that offense, so no, I'm sticking with Jerry Jeudy.
All right. So, and I'm speaking of Patterson, I'm actually worried that he doesn't get those goal line rushes that he did last year after they drafted Algier. Well, and also brought in Williams.
Yeah, I don't think people should touch Cordell Patterson. It was a great year. Lauren, awesome stuff.
It was a glorious year.
Too high. Way
Fantastic.
too high.
If you picked up Patterson and Elijah Mitchell in like week 1 off waiver, you were
golden.
You were
enjoyed your
crushed
championship.
It. Yeah, you really at least went to the dance. Yeah.
Okay, so next one, wide receiver 29, Chris, ADP, Adam Thielen, the touchdown maker. Are you going to keep Thielen or spin?
I'll spin. I'll take my shots here. Shot here at somebody else.
Lauren.
I'm gonna keep him. I think I'm gonna keep.
We finally have a split. All right. Well, then before we even spin for Chris, you have to make your. You have to make your case right now for Adam Thielen before we see Chris's results. And I'll set up the question for you. Is we've heard talk that the Vikings are going to pass more because of the new coaching regime. We also have seen that Thielen's been remarkably touchdown reliant, but similar to other touchdown situations like Lockett, so like he does it. Like it's not it's always happened with Kirk Cousins. But if you look at his game log last year, it got very volatile for the first time ever. Irv Smith is healthy. KJ Osborne maybe in a step forward this year. Is there any concern for you that Adam Thielen, if he doesn't get that touchdown, all of a sudden he's not even inside a top 40?
Oof, man. That is a concern because of all the mouths that are there to feed. But it's still Adam Thielen. And right when you think that he's not going to be able to do it, or right when everyone just wants to be like, wash our hands of him, he's done, washed, then suddenly he has a couple of super great games. So I really am curious to see what this new coaching, like you said, the new coaching regime, what they're going to start cooking up. And when it comes to creativity, route running, and separation, and contested catches, I like Adam Thielen. I like what he's been able to do. And there's a trust factor there, too, for good old Cousins, Kirky Poo.
Yeah, so before I'll even make a potential argument for you, Chris, my concern is we're potentially looking at the end of James Jones, like that kind of situation. Is like I just want to be out the year before it happens. Yeah. So you are spinning.
Lauren's right. Nobody really gives him any credit, though. But
that is
excited. I'm excited to see what's.
I'm actually surprised his ADP is wide receiver 29.
I know.
I am too, frankly. When you said 29, the last person that came into my mind was Adam Thielen. So that's, I'm surprised.
I thought he'd be mid-30s. Like, I'm comfortable with him mid-30s, but this is a little much.
All right, well, then let's see if you're comfortable with your spin pick here, Chris.
I got a bad feeling about this.
No, Drake London. This is
I'm happy
actually
with
I
that.
like.
Yeah,
You like
I
it?
take the upside. Yeah, I take the upside in Drake London. Yeah, we just kind of crapped all over the Falcons quarterbacks, but Kyle Pitts is there, and no Calvin Ridley. I'm just there's a lot obviously of uncertainty that we don't know with a rookie wide receiver, but
His competition is Zacchaeus.
that's kind of it, right? Like you look at the depth chart, Kyle Pitts is an absolute freak. He's a monster. He
Brian
lines up
Edwards.
all over the place. He's gonna be great. But yeah, they just acquired Brian, which I don't mind from Atlanta's standpoint. A nice little buy low, but there's really no what has he done? Right? Wasn't he compared to who is he? Dez or Terrell Owens? Like all the crazy comparisons, and he's done nothing in his career. And he can't really get any separation either. So yeah, this is an opportunity for Drake London. They drafted him
Actually, if
in
you want to
the
go
first
really
round.
far back,
Volume's
Chris,
there.
you and I were doing a show with Brad Ziegler where he was lauding Edwards as the next amazing. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
we're like, whoa, all right, chill
He
out.
wasn't the only one, to be fair.
no.
But yes, he was all. And it was weird for Brad because he just can't stand the Raiders. Like he's just,
I know.
the Raiders just like
He
it
really loved
bothers
some
him, anything
Brian
Raiders.
Edwards at the time. Let me
Yeah.
let me flip this question a little bit for you, Chris. More likely to happen: Drake London finishes top 20, or Drake London is not even a top 50 wide receiver.
Ooh, man, both ends there. Wow.
Is there any gray area there?
No,
Yeah,
that's the
like,
point of the
top
question.
20 is crazy. Like I don't feel like with the quarterback play, I don't feel like top 20. But yeah, I mean, outside top 50 is not end of the world. Like it's fine. He's a flex guy for you, somebody you can roll in. I mean, we know that the Falcons are going to be off.
Let me give you the 20th best wide receiver stat last year: 90 receptions, 1,037 yards, and 6 touchdowns.
Like he's not going to catch 90 balls. I don't think.
Okay,
That's a lot
then
to ask for.
74 receptions, 1,091 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Finished 4 points behind him at 21. Those are Brandon Cooks and T. Higgins, by the way.
Yeah. I think you get to like 60 and 800 and maybe 5 touchdowns.
What if I told you 71, 962, and 6?
I'd say that's your projections probably.
Do you like
I
them?
think I do like them. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think you can get there. Yeah, I think maybe the floor is 60. He's a
Quick
he's gonna be
version,
awesome.
Lauren. Would you change your pick if you could, or would you stick with Adam Thielen?
Oh, sticking with Thielen. You have your Wookiee up there, the rookie wide receiver that I could never say. So I just combine it all together and call them the Wookiees because no thank you about that whole
that's a
entire
Wookiee.
situation.
That's a Wookiee right there. That's a fuzzy Wookiee right there.
Oh, it is a little fuzzy Wookiee.
Actually, there's another one too. Oh, wait, I leaned the wrong way. All right, there too. I was like,
Okay, unless you're
that's
like
not something.
unless you're like a predatory, bird of prey, no one can actually see that unless they zoom in on their
can't
computer.
see that.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Oh my God. So I watched AGT. Oh, every time Heidi Klum does this when people are on stage.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't putting circles around your eyes doesn't give you binoculars. Like it
What it
infuriates
does,
me.
if you are nearsighted and you need glasses or contacts for farsighted, what that will do is actually help take away like a blur so you can see more clearly. My
don't believe you.
optometrist told me that. So she's like, anytime you
not
think
know
that you
that.
need to get your glasses fixed, your prescription strengthened, when you wear your
All right, Heidi
glasses,
Klum, go get some contacts and stop.
you do
doing
one
this.
of these and look through it, and if it looks clearer
stop.
through your eye, you need to up the lens.
What is he doing? Shut up.
Well, now you know.
Anyway.
So stop hating. Move on.
No, I still hate it. They're still infuriating. All right, Lauren. Next up, wide receiver 32 in ADP, Darnell Mooney Tunes. Keeping or spinning?
I'm keeping. I'm gonna keep. Keep.
Chris?
And I don't like that I just said it, but I'm gonna stick with it.
I'm gonna keep too. Yeah, I'm gonna keep.
You're both
as
gonna
well.
keep.
I'm scared of it though, but I'll keep them.
We should.
All right.
We should be a little.
Well,
on it.
so here's how I'll phrase this one. So first of all, I do have him higher, and in my breakout wide receiver column, I said he doesn't qualify for this reason. He finished wide receiver 23 last year, and my argument is he would either need to approach a ridiculous level of catch percentage, which would be 68, 70%, which, by the way, there's only like 2 wide receivers who eclipsed 70% last year. That's Cooper Kupp, and I forget the other off the top of my head, but we're talking about absurd catch numbers. Maybe Deontay Johnson. No, Deontay was actually low last year. But anyway, needs an absurd catch rate. or he needs to really jump in touchdown percentage, which both are doable. But still, even so, what world in that offense, even somebody who likes Justin Fields and myself, does he get to wide receiver 1 status? And that was my point. It's like, even if he improves, he can't break out into, like, he's not going to become a wide receiver 1. So saying all of that, Lauren, you're in on Mooney too, but what's the ceiling for Darnell Mooney?
He's a high end wide receiver 2, low end wide receiver 1, depending on the week. He's one of those guys I'm not drafting as my wide receiver 1. He's one of those guys that I feel comfortable with plugging in my wide receiver 2 or even my flex spot and have confidence based on the matchup. I also really want to see what this offense is going to do, taking a step forward. I think that they want to flex their muscles. They want to change the atmosphere. They want to change the narrative. So I'm curious to see where that's going to go. And honestly, I can only see Darnell Mooney getting better. I don't see a path to like severe regression for him. Severe. Not, he could have a little, but I don't know. I'm excited about that. I wouldn't mind having a piece of that offense.
Chris?
I think it's the only piece you want, really, though. Like, I mean, I get it.
Montgomery.
Yeah, I want
Dave
Montgomery.
Montgomery, I think Fields is okay in his super flex.
No
too.
Cole
Pass
Kmet?
catching piece of the
Oh,
offense.
actually, I love Cole Kmet. My goodness, how can
Look
I
at that. We just got Chris to name like 7 players. Like, I'm out on the Bears. Yeah, I'll take the whole team.
What else is this guy?
Yeah,
Oh,
give
okay,
me all
okay.
the Bears. Give me all the Bears. No, but Cole Kmet, honestly, is like, just leave your draft with your last pick as tight end. I mean,
Yes.
he had no touchdowns. It's gonna happen this year for
Yep.
him. But look at this wide receiver depth chart. Are you kidding me? St. Brown.
So I brought up Byron Pringle.
Dante Pettis, Tajay Sharp, David Moore, Byron Pringle.
Can we get off the
Velus
Tajay
Jones.
Sharp train? No.
Don't forget, 25-year-old slot receiving rookie Velus Jones.
Velus Jones, like, who just may return punts for them this year. It's crazy. So what I look at with Mooney is, I know it's a bit of a small sample, but the last 2 games of the season last year, 7 catches on 13 targets, 12 catches on 16 targets. He had a game against Baltimore. He had 16 targets. This is it, man. Like, he's going to flirt with double-digit targets every single week. That's it. It's just, he is. The team is not great. There's not a lot of passing options there. We just named them, and these are just, like, misfits guys that are just on the team now. So, yeah, I like Mooney. I don't know what his ceiling is. He got 1,000 yards. I don't think he's a wide receiver 1 either, but I think he could get to maybe he can flirt with 1,200. Just more touchdowns, too. Like, he had 4 TDs, so maybe we can give him 6.5. I think he's a great target.
By the way, Jerry Jeudy and Gabriel Davis both have 2 years under their belt, and they're all 2 years younger than Velus Jones. I just want to throw that out there.
32 minutes and 38 seconds it took for someone to mention Gabriel Davis.
Oh, well, that's because he's also on this spin wheel. Hopefully, at some point, we get Gabriel Davis. So we will spin the wheel and see if you potentially changed your mind. Devonta Smith versus Darnell Mooney. Anybody want to change their answer?
No.
No, that's a lot of
I do love Smith. You guys know I like Smith, but
With AJ Brown
Philly's
there.
run first team.
Yeah.
With AJ
here's what
Brown
I'm
and the
gonna do.
Eagles, no.
I hate when people say this. Chris knows this. Lauren, you'll learn it you probably, might have even learned it from last year, our first year together. But Chris knows I hate when people say, and best ball, every player in the history for everything has value in best ball. That's why it's best ball. But if there's a quintessential best ball type player, is it not Devonta Smith? He's in that Deshaun Jackson new version.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I'm not a huge best ball person, normally because it's meant to set and forget, right? That like gives me anxiety because I'm like, I forgot. Like when you have those dreams when you wake up and you're like late to a test that you didn't even realize that you had, and it was a class that you never went to. Like that's how I feel about best ball. Like gives me anxiety. So I don't really play a lot of best ball, but from what I've heard experts here, yes, that he is one of those quintessential best ball guys. So you will
Speaking of best
rarely
ball, Chris.
ever hear me say in best ball, Jake, just so you know.
As
Rest
a
I
quick
assured.
say the
sidebar,
same thing as
I
Jake. Go ahead.
that he's great best ball play.
Yeah, just that you can make the case for anybody.
Oh, if we can make a case for anybody, yeah.
Sure. Go ahead.
Sammy
Draft
Watkins,
Michael
great in
Thomas.
best ball. I was like,
Can have great weeks.
I was actually surprised. I threw out the Flex invite, and it was a suggestion because everybody in Flex is in the industry. I was like, best ball lineups, but you still do waivers, trades, blah, blah, blah. And Nando was like, oh my God, people are going to thank you for this idea. And A lot of people are like, no, I want to set my lineup. And I was like, then stop not setting your lineup on Sunday morning. If you're going to vote against it, then at least set your I thought it'd be great because we're all doing stuff on Sunday mornings. But anyway, all right.
I like the old school set. What I will say about Smith, though, honestly, is that this guy's going to be wide open 24/7. Like, he is a terrific route runner. As a rookie wide receiver, he had a really good season with top corners on him all the time. It's just not going to be the case in
Number
Philadelphia
one,
with A.J. Brown.
a little bit banged up at
The
times
attention's
last year.
going to be on Brown. Smith in year 2, another
Dallas
guy that
Goedert got
played
hurt
college
again.
quarterback played college with Hurts. Yeah, so, but it's really tough to kind of, like, compared to targets, like Mooney's going to get well over 100, and I don't know if Smith will even touch this.
I'm sticking with the volume. Exact same place. Like, I want the volume.
Okay. So next one, I told you we'd get to him. Chris, Robert Woods, who looks great, already has a connection with Ryan Tannehill, like they've been playing together for 15 years, and remember who Robert Woods is, and Treylon Burks. Robert Woods as the potential number 1. He's ADP 38. Do you want some Robert Woods, or do you want to spin the wheel and no Robert Woods for you?
He's really climbing. He's really climbing because of that video. It's just how it works. Like, he was wide receiver 50 in NFFC leagues.
I'm actually surprised Saquon Barkley didn't move inside the top 5 after all his ripped pictures of like how great shape he is.
It's only a matter of time.
Like, we didn't know Saquon Barkley was it like those freaking thighs that are the size of my entire body.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't know Saquon Barkley was in good shape.
That's why we like Saquon and his upside. He's an absolute freak, right? Just like keep those ankles and those knees feeling pretty good. You know what?
I have more fat in my arm than he does in his entire body.
Like,
I just want to put that like.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he's a freak.
Robert Woods, are you taking him or are you spinning?
You know, if you would have asked me a month ago, I'd say no dice. This guy's over 30, coming off a knee injury, new team. But, I am encouraged with the video, and some things you have to take with a grain of salt. But I like hearing those positive reports, just like J.K. Dobbins. I'd like to see him on the field, running around, and see Travis Etienne doing all these jukes, climbing up draft boards. Like, the same thing's going to happen here with Robert Woods, but he's reliable. He's good. He's a great pass blocker. He's going to be on the field all the time. We were just kind of all over Treylon Burks, like not being on the field. Like, who else is really there? People are like, oh, yeah, I like Austin Hooper this year. Do you really? Do you really like Austin Hooper as your tight end this year? You're going to take a shot on Austin Hooper? Robert Woods is going to be the go-to guy. He was last year. He clearly wasn't Stafford's guy. I didn't go for breakfast or whatever, but he had great seasons with Jared Goff. Like, I'm in. Give me him. Robert Woods. I'll take him.
Spinning or Woods for you, Lauren?
Oh, I'm Woods all day long. Not even, no.
Let's go.
Woods all day long. I love Robert Woods. Love him.
Can Robert Woods finish as a top 25 wide receiver?
Yes, I do believe that he can.
Okay. Do you think if he does, nobody else is relevant outside of Derrick Henry on this team?
Honestly, I do. Okay.
I've always said that. I'm with you.
I mean, like I want to put this into like a situation, right? So there will be players that have relevant games, but
and best
overall, yes, in best ball. No,
Especially,
God, ew, gross. Yeah, it just got like the sweats. Ew, I can't handle it. No, I can't. I lost my train of thought. Thank you very much, Jake. The cleanse. Appreciate
Other
it.
players will have relevant games.
They will, but overall, the two relevant fantasy assets on the Titan is Derrick Henry and Robert Woods. Not even a question.
All right, let's see if I can get you guys to change your mind and spin the wheel. There's still some really good
If
names
it's Cooper
on
Kupp, I'm gonna scream.
No, it doesn't go that high.
Imagine.
Russell Gage. As I was told, I have Russell Gage as wide receiver 44, knowing that Chris Godwin's not starting the season. I was told I'm disrespecting Russell Gage. Lauren, Russell Gage versus Robert Woods, and then is that too low as a complete sidebar on Russell Gage?
No, I don't think that's too low. I'm still sticking with Robert Woods. Riddle me this: is Scotty Miller still playing for the Bucks? I was just going to look up their depth chart
Tyler
here.
Johnson, like there's a whole bunch of dudes.
There's a whole bunch of dudes there.
back as of today.
Oh, hey, welcome. So yes,
really?
I'm staying with Robert
Speaking
Woods.
of best ball,
Oh God. Oh my Lord. No, I'm sticking with Woods here, without a doubt. I'm sorry,
you,
Russell
Chris?
Gage is not going to be the next Chris Godwin.
Woods versus Gage,
yeah,
and
I'm
this
gonna
44
stick to-
disrespecting Gage.
You're not
Yeah,
disrespecting
crazy,
him.
right? The biggest Gage fan. I don't know. It's maybe a big Falcons
Who
fan.
is
I don't know.
saying this?
Like, he had a
People.
good
You
season
gotta jump in my
last
comments.
His mom? Like,
I thought 44 was pretty aggressive.
that is aggressive.
It is.
That's so
yeah.
weird.
You know, when Godwin comes back, And when
See,
he's there, it's like Evans and Godwin and Fournette. Like, I feel like Gage would
like
be
we're
fourth
talking
in that
Godwin
order.
versus Gage. We're not talking about before with Lauren's point. We're not talking about Marquise Brown versus DeAndre Hopkins. We're talking Godwin versus
Yeah.
Gage.
Yeah, like Godwin's he's the man. He's awesome. And when he's healthy and he's going to be on the field,
He's better than
gonna
Mike
be
Evans.
the number one
often,
or the number two.
outside of the touchdowns. Yeah.
Yeah. that's
Actually,
it.
they finished
He's-
they were back and back last year in points per game.
The thing is, like you said, right? You hear the the Godwin thing, maybe not ready to go, gonna land on the pup or things like that. Then you hear Brady. Oh, Brady says like, oh, you gotta have. What did he say? I'm paraphrasing. He said something like, Gage has to have a phenomenal year for us.
Yes.
What is that? Like, it's like putting expectations on somebody too. Like, he has to, he doesn't have to have a fantastic season. You guys are still going to be fine. Fournette's going to catch balls to the back. It's just too rich, man. He's really climbing up draft boards. I don't really like it.
Could you imagine being Russell Gage and listening to that? Like, oh my God.
What is it? Yeah, how do you think he felt? I know he was pumped. Like, Brady apparently called him to tell him, like, I want you.
Here's the one positive
feel pretty
argument I
good.
will say for it. If Cameron Brate doesn't completely fill Gronk's shoes and this turns into the Bengals, Tyler Boyd finishes wide receiver 32 last year. Just
then
for
Gage,
that's without
But
missing
Fournette,
multiple
though,
games.
too. Like, Fournette's
No,
going to catch
no.
50 balls.
I mean, Mixon was
Yeah.
number 2 or 3 in fantasy last year, so it could be
Yeah.
done. And there is ceiling there. All right, maybe 2 more, at least 1 more. Who went first on that one? I forget.
I think I did.
You did?
think I
All right,
rambled on
Lauren.
about Gage, yeah.
We've mentioned his name.
Oh,
He
boy.
got one of the richest wide receiver contracts, and everybody said, "What?" And then we're like, "Hey, the Jaguars have to get somebody, right?" Christian Kirk goes from those Arizona Cardinals to
Spin.
Jacksonville,
Spin,
is the number one.
spin.
Lauren is spinning. He is wide receiver 46 off the board. Chris, are you spinning as well? Are you Christian Kirk season?
I don't know if it's going to be Christian Kirk season, but at wide receiver 46,
Hey.
I think
I
I'm
thought we were.
okay.
Hold on.
To
I thought we
Infinity
were.
Beyond. Star
I thought
Trek.
we were talking
Christian
about
Kirk,
ADP
Captain
when we're
Kirk.
making. I thought we weren't
You're
bringing
right.
up ADP.
No, we're
when
not.
we
We're
were
not.
making
Chris
our
is just
decision.
pulling it in like he's.
Yeah, you're
right?
right.
So
I am. I'm
If
pulling
you
it
were
in.
going super late, then I'd be like, sure. But on the face value, with in a vacuum with no ADP,
Knowing what else
I am
is out
spinning
there.
all day long.
Are you
Yeah,
spinning as
knowing
well,
what
Chris?
else is out there,
Yeah.
I'll spin as well. Yeah.
We haven't
but
hit
I think
Gabriel
he is going to
Davis
be
yet.
the number 1 wide receiver on the Jags, though. I do believe he's going to be the guy there.
I asked Chris this already. Lauren, your answer. Does anybody on the Jaguars eclipse 1,000 receiving yards in 2022?
Ooh. I don't. Someone has to. With what Trevor Lawrence is
do
able
they?
to do, I don't know. But with what Trevor Lawrence can do, and with Doug Peterson, I don't know. If that's going to be anyone, it's going to be Christian Kirk. Do I have any faith in that?
agree.
No. I have
I
none.
have Christian
Anyone
Kirk leading the
Kirk.
team. I had Christian Kirk leading the team at 946 for you. It's only 54 yards off, so there you go. We were spinning to see if you regret this decision or if you're happy with it as I try to avoid the glare. Ooh, this is interesting. Brandon Aiyuk versus Christian Kirk. Lauren, you were up first. Here's the thing about Aiyuk and Debo and Kittle is it's not just Trey Lance, Chris Meaney's boy, at quarterback. It's also, we saw very few games where all 3 of them played together last year. We have an unknown quarterback in the fact of his ability, on-field ability. We've seen glimpses of it. Who he likes the most, who's going to target, how much he's going to throw, and then again, all 3 playing together. You going to go back to Kirk, or are you going to make the argument for Aiyuk?
You're talking to me, right?
Yep.
All right. I think the smarter move would to be going with the guaranteed target volume with
Christian Kirk?
Christian Kirk. I think that's the
But you have
smarter
to
way.
argue for Aiyuk.
I'm arguing for Aiyuk, and I believe this one. This is not a lie, my friends. This is not me being deceptive, but I actually do like Brandon Aiyuk, and there is so many things going on with the 49ers that I think is really cool. First of all, their offensive coordinator, who basically did all of these crazy things with the running backs, he gone. All right. He's not there anymore. So I'm really curious to see what they're going to do. And yeah, we didn't see the wide receivers all on at the same time. And Brandon Aiyuk sucked in the beginning. And Kyle Shanahan was all like, I don't like him anymore because he's not super awesome. And then he had to like win favor back. It was a whole dramatic ordeal. But I wonder if that's going to be the same thing. Also, don't forget, Deebo Samuel is kind of like, falling out of love here with, some of the, off-season drama, if you will. And we have Trey Lance that is likely going to be the QB of the future starting week 1. for the 49ers. And I want a piece of that. I would like to see that because I have a feeling that this is Brandon Aiyuk is going to be that target for Trey Lance because Deebo Samuel said he doesn't even want to run running back routes anymore. He wants to stick with that wide receiver role, but man, he was so good at it last year. I don't know, man. It's a feeling. I'm going on intuition here, and my intuition is excited for Brandon Aiyuk and what the 49ers have to offer with the new offense, especially with things that they want to prove. So, yeah, I like Brandon Aiyuk.
I think Ayuk's the definitely better player.
And there's that.
I think he's a better football player. Remember when Shanahan
Thanks, Captain
was like,
Obvious.
Trent Sherfield is pretty good. I gotta roll that guy out.
I forgot about him.
Down the stretch, double-digit fantasy points in 7 of his last 9 games. He was pretty consistent in terms of a touchdown or 50 yards. It's just, the volume, like you guys kind of talked about, it's not going to be there. Kirk is going to get more volume. He's probably going to have better games, more consistently. I think Aiyuk is going to have some high ceiling games, but there's a lot going on in San Fran. They do want to run the football. You're right, a different offensive coordinator there. I personally would rather have Kirk, but I think, I think there's a higher ceiling there with Aiyuk.
I've lost so much faith in Kirk, not because Kirk is bad. It's just there was so much opportunity there for him and it didn't capitalize, I think, the way that we all saw it. So I'm jaded. So I think I don't want to look at my roster and see a player that I have been soured on for several years in a row. I don't know. I'd like to stick with the player that I actually want to see on my roster in Aiyuk, if that makes any sense, because I like Christian Kirk, so I don't know why I feel that way. Maybe because I'm a woman and I'm very volatile.
Jake, from just doing shows with you for years, I feel like you were a Kirk fan
right now.
But I don't feel like Arizona, I don't think Arizona really knew what to do with that guy. Sometimes he was in the slot, sometimes they line him out wide, then they draft Rondell Moore, and then I just feel like they didn't use him properly.
I'll keep saying what he said when he was coming out of college. He's Sterling Shepard. He can play outside. He's better in the slot, and he needs somebody above his level. Not worlds above his level, but he needs somebody above his level across from him. That's Christian Kirk is Sterling Shepard. Sterling Shepard's Christian Kirk. Finkel is Einhorn. That's really what it comes down to. We got a quick version of this one because we got to get out of here. So real quick, the potential new number one, well, not new, but old, but new number one for Davante Adams lists Aaron Rodgers and Alan Lazard. Chris, is Alan Lazard undervalued? Do you want Alan Lazard or do you want to spin the wheel knowing there's some good options potentially?
I want to spin. Let's finish here with one more spin.
Best spin, Lauren? Spin or Alan Lazard?
I want to take Alan Lazard, so I will leave the spin for Meaney.
Okay. All right. I like Alan Lazard as well. Chris, we'll see if you regret this decision as we get out of here.
No way. We're going to finish strong here.
Hunter Renfrow versus Alan
Lazard.
Lazard.
Guy that's going to be wide open.
Is this thing listening in the fact of it tied in the team that Davante Adams went to and pulls it? Do you see how it knew this conversation to get out of here?
That was good. Yeah, I'm fine with Renfrow. I think, honestly, he's clearly not going to have the same sort of numbers. You got Waller and Adams there, but he will be wide open. Carr likes him. I think, he's going to be – I think he's kind of undervalued a little bit for where he's going in drafts. I think he can still be a wide receiver 3. But Lazard, man, he could really have a monster season if he can stay healthy. He could score 10 touchdowns. I don't think anybody here on the show or watching would be surprised.
Lauren, quick version before we get out of here. Alan Lazard or Christian Watson?
Lazard.
You don't want a Wookiee.
I know.
I don't do
toy.
the Wookiees.
I know.
No, shiny new toy. No, shiny new toy in the NFL is I don't know what to do. No.
What about Sammy Watkins?
No. Ew. No.
Resurrect his career 7 years later.
Whatever. He have one great week where he scores 3 touchdowns, which is inevitable, and everyone's
week
on
one.
the Sammy Watkins train.
If you're not putting Sammy Watkins in your week 1 DFS lineup, what are you even doing?
What are you even
doing? If you're not checking out FTN and Chris Meaney with code ALLIN and saving 20%, what are you even doing? If you're not following Stepmom Lauren at Stepmom Lauren, what are you even doing? And if you're not going to The Athletic for $1 a month right now and clicking on my rank, what are you even doing? And if you're not back next week with Jeff, what are you even doing? What are we even doing? I don't know. Goodbye.
Check the link.